Put yourself in that pack?
Well, I already have separated myself for controller. I'm the only one not talking about defunding the police. It seems to be each one of my opponents are trying to out defund the police. They all talk about, I sponsored 2 of the anti-police bills. I sponsored 5 of the anti-police bills. I voted against the budget because it didn't cut the police department enough. It's like, it's really crazy because it's really misguided because we've already seen a spike, in gun violence in neighborhoods, particularly minority neighborhoods. And I represent a very diverse district. I have some Orthodox Jews, but I also have a very large Asian, South Asian, Latino, and some African American in my district. And it's a middle class district. It's a heavily immigrant. Full of immigrants, either first or second generation, and they want more police. They want safe streets. They're worried about the neighborhood. So it's not, maybe some of the leaders of the Black Lives Matter movement are pushing, to cut back on police, but not the average middle class, New Yorker. They want, safety, and they want more police in their neighborhood and on the subways.
As controller, what can David Weprin do to make sure that that reality continues and is met?
Well, you have, you certify the budget. You get involved in certain aspects of the budget. You get involved in various contracts, and you have the audit function where you can actually audit city agencies and save money. But primarily, that's not. You also one of 3 citywide officials, so you have a bully pulpit. And you can use that bully pulpit to speak out, loudly on the issue. And that's probably the way I could be the most effective in the budget process and in, taking a position, against defunding the police.
The concern we have is that the delivery tax on Amazon deliveries, while maybe a revenue
passed on,
the city would certainly stymie those businesses that are based out of the city as well. It's a rough balance. How do you reach some kind of plateau?
Yeah, no, I'm not. That's not one of the taxes I've been advocating. I advocated actually before the governor proposed it in his State of the State address that we're going to have some new industries, whether you are against casino and sports betting or not, or whether you're against marijuana or not. It's becoming a reality. It's a reality in New Jersey now. They're ahead of us. They have sports betting online. We have sports betting in the upstate casinos that we have, but we don't have, you can't do it with any app-based app. And we're losing a lot of tax revenue. People will work around it.
As a to-be controller, what do you think the impact of building back is going to be on homeowners? Single family, 1 to 2 family homeowners, vis-a-vis property taxes and their ability to go forward?
Well, look, there is a commission that was supposed to come out in the city, and the property tax system is really unfair. It's it's not based on the value of your home. It's based on other factors. And for example, in my assembly district, I represent about 1/3 homeowners, single-family homeowners, 1/3 co-op owners, and 1/3 renters. And the co-op owners are taxed like commercial property, while the homeowners are only taxed as a special protected class of residential, which is only about 6% of the market value. Which, and I'm not suggesting raising and bringing that up to full value, because I'm against that. We have a system that's been in effect for so many years. I'm not looking to hurt homeowners who have lived, bought homes in New York City because of the low property taxes, proportionally to the suburbs. But I am, trying to, equalize, some of the people that have been discriminated against, like middle-class co-op owners and others. So it's a tricky thing, but there's I'm not in favor generally of raising property tax, as I mentioned.
With regard to the controller's oversight and audit abilities, there's been much, and I'm sure you're familiar with the those people who are pushing for greater oversight into private and secular education within the city, and in particular with regard to yeshivas. It's of great concern to the Orthodox community. Without, obviously, we're not looking for a specific protocol, but what would your position be vis-a-vis yeshivas, the audit power and government oversight of curriculum and time spent?
Well, I've been fighting for the yeshiva community with this group called Pearls, which represented all the various elements in the yeshiva community, from more secular yeshivas to Hasidic yeshivas, and I think it's with the substantially equivalent issue and raised by I set up a number of meetings with Betty Rosa when she was head of the Regents, and Judy Chin, who's the regent from Queens. Betty Rosa is now the state education commissioner, and they're the ones that were supposedly in charge of determining what's substantial equivalent for religious schools. And we've actually shown them through a number of these meetings that the method learning, even when you're learning in these Hasidic yeshivas, Gemara, there's so many secular subjects and learning tools in that it really is substantial equivalent. A lot of this came out of, a disgruntled former Hasidic yeshiva student, who started this Yafed group. And it sounds great. It sounds like, people are leaving yeshivas and they can't make a living and they don't know English and everything else. It's a little bit of a distortion because, he got into college. He went to college, this particular individual, and I've heard, different stories about, some personal vendetta he may have had or whatever. But the truth of the matter is, I mean, there obviously are some yeshivas that could do better in training some of their graduates, for vocational training in the workplace, and certainly learning English better. But overwhelmingly, most people, even from the Hasidic yeshiva, go into business, go into different industries, and it's not as the media has been portraying it. And I've been fighting for religious freedom, and it is a religious freedom issue. As long as they're meeting minimum standards, and educating the children. I've been supporting the two-tier system. I said,
we're certainly glad to have Assemblyman Weprin on our side and playing such an active role to make sure that the real story is getting out there. With regard to another aspect of the oversight ability, with regard to CUNY, I know you hail from Queens. But with regard to CUNY, there have been multiple stories and reports coming out that Brooklyn College is rife with anti-Semitism on the campus, both from a administrative and tenured professor, stories to just among the students. Can the Comptroller's Office exercise its audit and oversight ability to help rectify those situations?
Yeah, they can. I know the Justice for Palestine movement, and I've written letters and protested, with the CUNY chancellor when that was shown to be, promoting BDS and other anti-Semitic, things on campus. So I kind of fought that, a number of times. One of the things that the Comptroller's Office can audit are some of these outside contracts that all the city agencies have. The New York City budget has grown to about $92 billion. When I was chairman of the Finance Committee in 2002, it was $40 billion. And when I left in 2009, it was about $60 billion. But now it's $92 billion. So it's gone up, very, disproportionate than it should have, I think, as compared to the state budget, which has been capped to a certain extent. And of that 92 billion, 17 billion of it, or 19% of the 92 billion, are outside contracts. That's why it's gone up so much, because the outside contracts have gone up so much, and those are not sufficiently audited. So
with entities, either Israeli-based entities or entities that have contact and ties to Israel. Can we understand what your position would be vis-a-vis investments of the pension fund monies with regard to
Yeah.
Israel?
I would be obviously against that. I'm also not so much in favor of using the pension funds for political purposes. Certainly, I know Israel well. I have a lot of family there. I've been to Israel about 10 times. I'm very strongly opposed to the BDS movement. I wear another hat as president of the National Association of Jewish Legislators, and we've been fighting BDS across the country. We have Jewish legislators from over 40 states represented in my association, and BDS is one of our main platforms opposing it because it's risen. If you think it's risen a lot in New York, you got to see other parts of the country. It's even worse. So I've been fighting that. So there's no question. I know that Israel bonds and investing in Israel high-tech companies is a good investment, and we've documented that. My last JCRC trip, which was actually probably the last trip, it was about a year ago, and it was right before the pandemic broke. It was the last week in February, first few days in March.
Don't hold it against us.
I won't. If it wasn't for putting my mom.
If you could have dinner with any historical figure, anybody, who would it be?
I would say Abe Lincoln.
Okay.
I mean, he was kind of ahead of his time. The positions that he took in dealing with the Civil War and slavery. I think he would be somebody I would find very interesting. And there've been a number of Lincoln movies and books that I've read. So I'd love to have dinner with Abe Lincoln.
But you have to give me a chance with the follow-up. Where would you go to eat with Abe?
Oh, take him to a kosher place. A lot of it depends on whether it's inside or outside, pre-pandemic or post-pandemic. But I don't know. We could take him to Prime Grill is not around him. We could take him to
Reserve Cut.
Reserve
We'll meet
Cut
in the middle.
downtown.
Reserve Cut.
Reserve Cut on Wall Street, right?
Everybody likes a good steak.
Correct.
Assemblyman, I thank you very much for the time. I don't want to take too much time. The best of luck and stay healthy and safe.
Thank you, Sam. I appreciate it. And Chag Kasher B'Sameach.
Thank you. You too. Chag Kosher B'Sameach.